at this point, we have printed our first color using the linoleum. We carved all of our background and then printed the main color of our character. So I chose turquoise. You can see it here on my styrofoam print. I have that, and I've lined it up with the corner. So when I printed this, okay, I want my person facing inside, so I didn't put it here because his nose would then be on the wrong side. I lined up so the nose would be centered. I lined it up here, and I printed. Now I have that main shape printed in turquoise. If you'd like to see it on a plain paper, this is what it would look like on a plain paper in the turquoise. So now I have to decide, do I just want one color for my character, or do I want more than one color? If I only want this one color, I just want turquoise with my black outlines, I'm going to carve next everything that is gray and only leave my black lines. However, I'm going to show you what it looks like if you do more than one color. So I have marked with an X for my reference everything that I want to carve out. I want those things to stay turquoise, my first color. Everything that I don't carve, I will then print with my second color. For me, that's going to be gold. I want my other features to be gold. So again, I've marked an X, everything I want to stay my first color, which is turquoise. I'm going to carve all of these things out, and then I will print my second color, which is gold. After that, I will come back in, carve everything I want to stay gold, and print my outlines in black. That is an extra step. If you just want one color with black outlines, you would carve all the gray stuff and then just print your outlines, okay? You will never, ever, ever carve your outlines. Your outlines will always stay there because that's what's going to give your print all the details. So if you're looking closely, you can see I've already gone ahead and carved around all of the edges of all of my shapes. That makes it easier to carve. If you start by going around the edges of your lines, that way you don't accidentally carve your lines off when you get going. This is a little harder than carving the background because I have to be more careful. There's more details and there's smaller spaces. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go through the same process as I did to carve before. I'm going to warm up my linoleum for 5 seconds, and then I'm going to finish going around any of these shapes that I still have to go around. So you can see here I am going around all of my lines. Even if I make my lines, if I don't go right up next to the lines, I'm just going to have a thicker outline, so that's okay. But once I have this done, I can switch to a bigger tip, like a 3 or a 5. Now, if these spaces are really tiny, some of these you can see are really tiny, I didn't switch. But if the spaces are bigger, like these, I can switch to a 3 or a 5. And then once you've switched, if you need to, you just continue to carve out anything that is left in that shape. So now I've made this shape. This entire shape will stay turquoise when I print because there's nothing there to cover up that turquoise, which was my first color. Alright, so now you can see how I'm starting to carve out these sections. So you don't want to go too deep. You don't want to hit this fiber at the bottom. That makes your linoleum really weak if you get that far, so be careful about that. But you can see I've already taken out all these outlines, and now I'm going in between. I switched to a 3. I haven't switched to a 5 yet. I might do that for these really large shapes, but I don't want to do that for these small shapes because that's just not enough control. Because this is easier to carve than big shapes, I'm probably only going to hold this down for like 3 seconds instead of 5. I don't want it to get too soft because then it carves too easily, and I might actually carve too far down deeply or slip and carve a line that I don't want to. But having that outline done is helping me to not accidentally carve my lines because it's kind of like a dam holding in a river. It just kind of stops my blade. But that doesn't mean I don't have to have self-control and be careful. It just means I've got kind of like a seatbelt, you know, it provides safety, but that doesn't mean I don't drive carefully, right? So just keep carving out all this extra space. If you get to large shapes, you can go ahead and switch to a larger tool. But you probably want to be very careful about that. The larger the tool, the more it can take out by accident. So, all right, so keep going. When you've carved out everything you want to stay your first color, you can print again. And remember, you can do more than one color, or you can just do one color and then carve everything and print your outlines. But you will never carve away the things in Sharpie because those are your outlines and those get printed last.